Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to managing money and paying off debt? If so, you're not alone. I was there a few years ago and it's not fun. That's why I'm going to show you the exact plan that I used to pay off $55,000 of debt in 2 years. Our debt-free journey has been up and down. We started off paying debt in 2014 before we got married, and then life happened and we ended up in so much more debt. We had car loans, personal loans, and a ton of medical bills that was well over $200,000 of debt. I didn't start tracking how much money we had paid off until the first Debt Snowball update that I did on this channel a couple of years ago, but since then we've paid over $55,000 worth of debt, and this is how we did it. The first thing that we did when we created our debt payoff plan was to start an emergency fund. It seems counterproductive to start saving money before you start paying off your debt, but trust me, while you're on this journey, you're going to need money for emergencies. 7 months after my husband and I got married, he ended up having to have a major brain surgery. And yes, we were surprised. Yes, it came out of nowhere, but we had an emergency fund in place to help us cover some of those expenses without taking on new debt. Having an emergency fund while you're paying down debt gives you a little bit of breathing room and thinking room. If something unexpected comes up, yes, it's going to be a shock, but you have money in place to give you time to think about what the next step should be without rushing into decisions and wondering how you're going to pay for this and how you're going to be able to survive during this time. Do not skip this step. The next thing we did was create a realistic budget. When you're on a debt-free journey, you need to know exactly how much money is coming in and going out each month. Having a budget does a few things. First, it helps you understand how much money you're bringing in each month and if you make enough money to cover your expenses. It also gives you a true picture of your finances and helps you know if you're living above your means or if there's some things that you can cut out to save a bit of money. My favorite budget approach is a zero-based budget. This type of budget means that you give every dollar a job and you track your expenses along the way. While you're doing this, you get to make changes to your budget in real time because budgets are flexible and you're always on top of what's coming up next. This budget approach is a great way to make sure you're spending money according to your debt payoff plan. My favorite budget app is YNAB, and I have a few videos linked here if you want to see how I use the software. After you have your budget in place, it's time to add up all of your debt, including interest rates, and decide on a debt payoff method that works for your situation. There are so many options to choose from. You can pay off the smallest balance first, you can pay off the highest interest first, you can pay off the debt that annoys you the most first, or you can do a combination of all of these as long as it makes sense for your situation. Paying the smallest balance first gives you the sense of a quick win. Paying the highest interest first will save you a lot of money in the long run, and then paying the debt that annoys you the most first just gives you peace of mind because that particular debt is gone and off of your plate and you can move on to the next one. It's all about choosing the method that is going to keep you motivated. On our journey, we started off paying the smallest debt first. Once we paid that one off, we jumped around to the debt that was the most annoying, and then once that one was paid down, we moved back to the next smallest balance. So the payoff plan is very flexible as long as you're tracking everything and keeping your goals in mind. Now that you know how you're going to tackle this debt, it's time to set some realistic goals. This was the fun part for us because we like to challenge ourselves a little bit. One of our first goals was to make more money so that we could pay off this debt a little bit faster. And shortly after we set this goal, I became a virtual assistant and my husband became a freelance photographer in addition to both of our full-time jobs. This gave us a bunch of extra money to throw towards our debt, and we were able to check off our first goal. Another one of our goals was to build up our sinking funds because we have expenses that we know are going to come up in the future, and we want to make sure we can pay those down without going further into debt. So to accomplish this goal, we started budgeting as usual, and we took the amount of money that was left over in our budget and divided it between our debt and some of these sinking funds one at a time. This did slow down our debt payoff plan a little bit, but we felt more secure in the long run because we had money to pay for those things like oil changes and property taxes that we knew were going to come up. So that goal put us in a better financial situation in the long run, even though it slowed down our journey a little bit. And that is how we created the ultimate debt payoff plan. So now that you know how we created our plan, let's talk about a few tips that we used along the way to stay sane on this journey. First up, we only focused on one debt at a time. We made minimum payments on all of our debts, And any money that was left over in our budget went directly to the one debt that we were focusing on at that time. Once that debt was paid in full, we picked another debt to focus on and only focused on that one until it was done, and so on and so forth. That made everything easy to manage and track and pay down. Next, we stopped taking on any new debt if we could help it. This means that we paid cash for almost everything since we started our debt payoff journey. Now, there are a few things that we were not able to pay cash for, like purchasing a house, but other than that, we have pretty much paid cash for every single thing that we've done since we started our debt payoff plan. We had two exceptions to this rule. The first exception was medical debt. Most medical things are out of our control, and most medical bills are also interest-free as long as you communicate with the doctor or hospital or whatever and create a plan through them. If you watch our Debt Snowball update videos, you can tell that we pay off our medical debt pretty quickly if we don't have the money to pay cash up front. The next exception was buying a house in 2020. We ended up buying a house at the perfect time in 2020, and we were able to purchase this house with no money down, no PMI. Our sellers paid our closing costs, and we just got an all-around good deal that we would not get in 2023. So that was another exception to our rule. The last tip is to always budget for fun. So initially I built in $25 a piece every month for our spending money. And I know that sounds like a small amount of money, but we had goals and we were both okay with it. We talk about our budget before we implement anything. So $25 a month for each of us, which is $50 total. And we can spend that money on whatever it is that we want to spend it on. And we do not spend our spending money on each other, because that is our personal money to have fun and do whatever it is that we want with it. We also built in $50 for entertainment into our budget in case we wanted to go to the movies or like go see a show or just go out and have fun with friends. Anything like that, we have $50 a month to play around with. Building fun money into our budget really helped us stay on track because we had a certain amount of money that we can do whatever we wanted with, and it wouldn't hinder our goals and it wouldn't throw us off track. And fun fact, we still get a very minimal amount of spending money. So we went from 25 to anywhere between 25 and 75, depending on what Siri says. So if you are interested in that, check out our Budget With Me videos to see how we get our spending money every month. But we're still working towards our goals. I know that dealing with debt can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it by yourself. I have a free debt-free workbook that will help you get organized and create your own personal debt payoff plan. Click the link in the description box below to get your workbook. In addition to the workbook, I have a video right here to help you get started with your emergency fund. Click the link on your screen right now to check it out. See you there.